Hi everyone, so I decided to do a video, and after watching the videos and reading Tompkins Chapter 4 on differentiation and completing my book talk, I realized that differentiation is extremely important, and Tompkins discusses some of the ways in which we are able to differentiate, and the videos show some of the ways in which that we can differentiate, and some of the first important ways to differentiate is differentiation in content. Now, our videos and Tompkins talks about what that means, and it's talking about some of the skills that are being utilized, the content that are being utilized, strategies that are being utilized in the classroom. There are different ways that learners can still achieve the same outcome and utilize different content, different skills, different strategies. And once you're able to differentiate content, you can come up with different activities for students to complete in order to assess the same kind of learning. Tompkins on page 93 also talks about differentiating the process. So that's really important because it allows students to process the skill and learning differently. So some of the differentiation in process that we usually see is when teachers give students different reading levels or different book levels, and they pick those just right books or books that are appropriate for them to succeed. And finally, Tompkins talks a lot about differentiating the product, which is the outcome, the assessment. So some of them, some students may have one product while other students can have other products or final outcomes. And this is really imperative ways to differentiate and have successful differentiation. And our book talk comes into that when we see students use multimedia. For example, I noticed that a lot of students decided to use Prezi. I consider using Prezi, however, I thought, and a way for me to differentiate, it was using VoiceThread, where VoiceThread uses a lot more audio as opposed to music or as opposed to words that I would end up having to type in Prezi. Also, when you're trying to differentiate, it's really essential to have different tiered activities. And some of the tiered activities, what that can look like is giving different choices for students and allowing them to pick and choose what activity is most suitable to fit their needs. That is showing that you are acknowledging students' needs and allowing them to really choose what's appropriate for their level. I noticed some of this that I learned about differentiation I already do in my classroom, and some of it I need to do in my classroom. So, for example, I tend to have tiered activities where their students are able to pick whichever article, pick whichever story to look at, and using the same skills that they need for each story, complete the activity. So that's differentiating the process. I need to practice on differentiating the product because ultimately, as an English teacher and as a content special for high school, I tend to give students essays instead of allowing them to work on different products. So some of the things that I will implement is creative PowerPoint presentations that practice the same skill, or allowing them to create a verbal presentation. This way I can instill some of what I'm learning from Tompkins within the my own classroom practice.